Are you tired of wading through all the bro science and misinformation by teenage YouTube stars and internet wannabes? Cyberpump.com presents How to Transform Your Physique. Bill Pichet will share with you his lessons learned and key information to help you transform your physique. So sit back and get ready for real information on training and diet from decades of real experience in the trenches.
Welcome everyone to How to Transform Your Physique number 244. You're probably wondering about now what the heck I'm doing, especially since I just switched from writing to doing videos over on YouTube. Well, I got to thinking about it, and frankly I was just sitting there and just decided to try a different format, especially since I was just sitting there talking. If I had something to demonstrate, then what I'll do is switch over to YouTube and put it on video specifically. As far as in 243, I mentioned in 244 that we're going to talk about a little bit more about repetition efficiency, and I was also going to talk about leg training as related to repetition efficiency. One of the things I want to point out is there's a lot of great upper bodies around in bodybuilding, powerlifting, etc. And if you notice, in comparison, legs development, legs in general, there's a lot of guys out there that just don't have the leg development, but again, upper bodies tend to be a dime a dozen. And I believe there's a root cause for that. One, obviously, as I mentioned before, is repetition efficiency. And I'm going to mention, not only in this particular entry, but in the next entry as well, I'm going to talk specifically about leg training. One of the things about repetition efficiency is the harder the exercise, the worse the repetition efficiency typically gets for the trainee. And that's just normal because there has to be a lot of focus in the exercise when you're performing it. So the harder the exercise is, then probably your repetition efficiency is going to go down in general. Therefore, you can correlate it to the hardest body parts to develop. And the legs are definitely right up there, as far as I'm concerned, number one, for the hardest part of the body to develop. Even if you look at some of the pro bodybuilders out there, what typically they lack in development, or even national level bodybuilders, I don't care whether it's natural bodybuilders or bodybuilders that are doing PEDs, in general, majority have a pretty tough time of getting full leg development. So even if they, for example, have really good quadriceps development, then they may lack hamstring development. So there are those genetic freaks out there, and that's why I believe actually they have full leg development, is because they're actually wired up a little bit better than probably 99.9% of the trainees out there. And didn't matter what they did as far as leg exercises or repetition ranges, they are going to get the full leg development. But like I said, those people are very, very few out there. So one of the things with performing leg exercises is typically that squats are said to be king out there, and the compound exercises like squats, for example, is really, really tough. Probably the toughest exercise, especially when you're getting into higher repetitions. One of the toughest exercises to perform with really good form and actually a high repetition efficiency. Part of the problem is the mental capacity and mental focus that's needed to train the legs, especially when you're performing squats. So one of the other things out there is, you want to look at the big numbers some of the guys are doing with respect to squatting and even leg exercises. The problem is they're not really connecting into the leg muscles properly. So therefore, again, no matter, they could be, I've seen plenty of guys out there that are, squatting 500 pounds for reps, and yet their leg development's not there. So hamstrings, I mentioned those earlier. Again, very, very difficult because all those people that are squatting out there, the problem with them performing the squats is gravity comes into play. So gravity comes into play, and on the way down, basically their hamstrings aren't really contracting the way they should be, and gravity basically will pull you to the ground, so to speak, because people basically let go and almost dive bomb into the bottom. So very, very little tension is on the hamstrings. when this is a big factor actually, and people are missing out on their hamstring development by letting gravity take over in squats. So one of the other things I want to mention before actually I tie off this particular entry in how to transform your physique is very high squats. Everybody knows partial squats, pretty much useless. So partials give you partial results, and I truly believe that. Doug Daniels said that at Powerlifting USA over 2 decades ago, and I basically resonate with that completely. So next time I'm going to talk about very specifically, I think I mentioned in 243 I was going to talk about repetition ranges, and that is going to be a key factor, but I'm going to save that for number 245. Don't forget to visit cyberpump.com for how to transform your physique, number 1 through number 239. Also check us out on YouTube. This is Bill Pache, over and out.